Hi, good evening. My name is Melvin, Executive Director of Community Male Empowerment Project. Today we have another community development awareness just to make our community aware of the dangers and the stares that's going on in our community. And we want to stand behind one of Chicago's own Chicago's own star child. And we're talking about Chance the Rapper. And reason why we want to stand with Chance the Rapper, and let me bring it up here so you guys can see. Reason why we want to talk about this young brother, because anytime you talk about a young, successful, African American young man like this trying to do right, bring awareness to the city of Chicago and put in his own money to help with the Chicago public schools and make sure that these kids can have a after school program. And now he's coming under attack from the Sun Time. We tell the Sun Time that will not happen. The African American community is standing with Chance the Rapper to say, hey, he's a great young man that's doing great things and has a voice. And back in the past, when we was out here really protesting, we used to go down to the Sun Time anytime they wrote a negative story excuse me, about anyone in our community that's trying to do the right thing. We will go down and protest them. Looks as if we have to start the same thing, because no way in the world you're going to talk about this young man who's trying to do the right thing. And because we have adults down in Springfield that cannot pass a balanced budget, and now our children have to suffer because we have grown men and women down in Springfield that cannot come together and to agree on the budget that's going to help the kids further their education in the Chicago public school system. We understand the Chicago public school system is in turmoil, and they actually need an overhaul. I like Karen Lewis for what she's standing for. She's very vocal, she's very boisterous, and I love that about her because she's standing with the teachers. And we also standing with the teachers because the teachers are doing a great job when they're taking our kids, when I say our kids, they're taking our kids for majority of the day and trying to give them an education. But let's be clear, let's give them the money that they need so they can be effective teachers in our community. And then we hold the teachers and everyone accountable for our kids. And you know, it's just a shame that they down in Springfield fighting the way they are, and when the federal government send them the money and then they have all these budgets going on, and it's not up to us that they mismanage the money. Why do African Americans and poor folks have to suffer when they mismanage money? Why is it that we have to always be on the back burner when in the city too, the city and the county and the state, well, the county, Tony Perkwinkle seems as she doing a good job, but the soda tax, a little bit over the top. But at the same token, when you're talking about the state and you're talking about the city, and they have to balance their budget off the back of poor black folks or poor people, period. You know, and that's a shame. That's a shame. So we most definitely, again, you know, I showed you Chance the Rapper, and then this a perfect segue into another issue that we need to talk about. Now we need to talk about, I hope you guys can read this real good. We need to talk about student and mental health in the public school system. And let me share something with you guys about public health. Because look, now let's be honest, our program is strictly community awareness. Now I just got some disturbing news before I started headed to the show. And we used to protest about this years ago. And it just brought back to my attention that our kids are getting fed I'm going to say mind-altering drugs to our children because of their behavior in school. When the mother or when they go for the evaluation in the school and say, oh, your kid have abnormal behavior, or what they call it, hypertension deficit, that he can't sit still. So they feed our children Ritalin and all these types of drugs, and come to find out, after they have that drug in their system for so long, you guys know just as well as I know, because you are intelligent listeners, you guys know just as well as I know that the kid has withdrawal. And with them withdrawal symptoms, you know a kid can act out bad behavior because something is happening in their body and their mind that they're not familiar with. So that's when you get this violent behavior or this abnormal reaction from these kids. And the police, the moms, I don't know, because when the son or the daughter go back to the mom and say, my stomach hurt, my head hurt, because I'm taking this pill or this medicine that the school described to me from the nurse. And then the mama tell the son or the daughter, please, you ain't got to take it no more. And then, so you know, that's a withdrawal there from the child. And now they start acting out in the negative and bad behavior. So, but the fact of the matter is that we have to make our people aware of what's going on in our community, because this is all stemmed from, you know, the powers that be telling us how to raise our kids. And you see what's happening once the powers that be start getting in poor folks' business. Because when we was coming up as kids, you know, we didn't have a 1-800 number. Child abuse. We didn't have that. Your moms and dad disciplined you the best way they knew how. And look at us. Some of us turned out all right. Again, some of us. You know, but at the same token, you know, we still have to go back. We have to mind our own children to make sure that we are making sure our kids are being in the best possible state that we can think of. And staying away from violence. And statistically have shown that violence in our community is run rampant. We always, on the show, we're going to try to get some time in to talk about the violence and creating jobs. Our goal in our community is to create the jobs so we can stem from this violence. Because once we create jobs and stem from this violence, then you will see our community strictly turn around. Once our community turn around, we know we'll feel glad and happy that we'll take the hood out the neighborhood. We'll stand in the community. We're staying in a community that we all can be proud of. And again, you know, I might bring up this segment about the gun violence. I want to talk about killings again. Come on now. Come on, powers that be. All our elected officials, our state representatives. Come on now. Come on, aldermen. How long you guys got to, and I don't want to get off track here, but I want us to use this opportunity to make sure that you guys will see us on all social media outlets. So, because I want you guys from my Facebook, when I start my Facebook, if you want to name anonymous, if you want to remain anonymous, just put on I like it. Because we want to get a lot of Facebook followers to make sure that they know that we are coming. We got to make sure that these young men and women are registered to vote. And once they register to vote, once we knock on your door, we're going to give you an ultimatum. Either you leave or we're going to vote you out. Either or. You can leave or we're going to vote you out, because we want our community to thrive and looks like a neighborhood and a community that we can be proud of. Because look at the north side. Look at the north side. You got Lake Park, Lincoln Park, all them old great north side communities. You don't see a vacant lot, abandoned building. If it's a vacant lot or abandoned building, it won't be for long. Because trust me, an investor have their eye on it. And they get in contact with their alderman to say, this is what we want to do. But we want the alderman to give us the same respect in our community as they give the big money boys in their neighborhood. And then we want our local aldermen, excuse me again, we want our local aldermen in our community to make sure that you're going for the people who put you in office. Stop going for that check. Stop going for the people who's funding you. Go for your community. Because at the end of the day, you have to see us. You have to come talk to us in our neighborhood. You have to come talk to us. Again, I have my great team behind me, and we're live. And they talk about go to the overhead. For what? I can talk all day. And I want to make sure that you'll hit my word and it goes out loud and clear. You guys, I want you guys to make sure that we as a community can come together. Man, I tell you, we have to be registered to vote. We have to start getting out there registered to vote, even though we may say that voting, our voices won't get heard, but at the voting poll, it will get heard. Because guess what? We can get rid of some of them elected officials on the local level. And then once we get rid of them on the local level, they will hear us on the national level. They got to go. They most definitely got to go, man. We most definitely got to get rid of them and make sure that we can make this thing happen. So, again, I'm thinking about going to, I don't want to, I do want, I ain't going to tell a story about it. I do want to continue making it happen because this is what I'm going to go to. I'm going to continue going to the violence in the city of Chicago. I'm still going to continue talking to the violence about the city of Chicago. So when we talk about the violence in the Chicago area, we know there's a big push that we can continue as a whole unit, making sure that we can say enough is enough. So again, and so I want to make sure that you guys understand what's going on in our community. And again, let Chris introduce himself.
So hey guys, yeah, so we want to, just let you know that this violence thing, we really got to figure out how we can be more combative against it, to be, turning around and I was listening to the show earlier about, when you subject someone to scrutiny because of, an irrelevant issue when they're trying to do the right thing, it just screams volumes to say, well, what really are your motives? Do you really have an understanding, or are you really in touch with what the community is about? You have to understand nobody is perfect. Nobody will be able to, give it all 110%. But the goal here is to use the resources and to provide as necessary. And there's a whole lot of necessities that are needed to go on. As we were talking about our last subject last week on just the development with different high-rises and different developments in the city of Chicago, there's opportunities there. We just have to somehow make a better connection. Connections are trying to be there, but more than likely, it's a little difficult because you have different bumps in the road. You have issues and hurdles that come up, and then you have issues that some people consider silly, such as, hey, bringing up something that's not relevant to a paternity issue. It wasn't a paternity issue, but to a settlement issue. So long story short, I will never put anybody's personal business out in the open like this. But for the greater good, when you're trying to stop violence, when you're trying to help the schools out, when you're trying to be supportive and nobody else is doing something, and then you continue to pick and to push and to pride, what does that really say? What does that really say?
Exactly. So just like he's saying, we have to, and we're gonna come to you through all social media outlets because we want to reach the people. We want to reach the people. We want everybody to come on board to make sure that our voices are being heard down at the city of Chicago on this local level. Because just like Chris mentioned, and we mentioned last week on the show, how are you gonna have 70 high-rise or 44 sky-rise, high-rise, whatever you want to call them, construction sites going up in the city of Chicago, and there's no minority participation in it, and I know for a fact they got a couple of sites that there's no minority participation, and that's unheard of in 2017. That's really unheard of. You will think they will reach out to the folks in need to say, okay, let's pull these young men and women up and get them a job, a meaningful job that they can be proud of. Because 2017, we know a lot of this have to change. We cannot continue going backwards. We cannot continue going backwards in the face of what's going on in our community. Because now you hear in the news all the time, kids are going up north in them neighborhoods that's where there's hardly no crime committed. Now there's a lot of crime up there. Okay, well, y'all know the deal. When kids are not eating,
something's got to give, and that goes back to that mental health issue that we always want to retract back to. When you have community services, and then all of a sudden you disrupt that, or you end that, or you end programming or funding for that. There's a ripple effect. Just because you may want to pass a budget here and at least continue to move forward on taking steps in one direction, you sometimes take a step back in others, because now you have shorted something that really needed it, and something that was almost it was almost imperative for it to grow. So when you take that away, now you open up a can of worms. You have certain things that don't turn out right. And I think when we understand how really big the crisis for mental health is an epidemic, then we'll start to realize and see, okay, maybe there's something behind it. Maybe there is some correlation in a sense of how we can understand violence that's going on with our youth and figure out, well why is this continuing on?
Right, exactly. And the reason why we brought up mental health, I'm not going to say any names. I was talking to a real good friend of mine. He took some kids on an outing. He said once he took them on an outing for 3 or 4 hours, they was fine. 3 or 4 hours, they was fine, and they can go back home. But once he took them for an hour once he took them for an outing, 24 hours, that's when all chaos hit the fan, and he realized, and as he asked the moms what happened. He said, we have a call on the line. Okay, caller, I'm sorry. Go ahead, caller. Please state your name and your concern.
Yes, sir, my name is Freddie. For the last 2 months, I've been calling all this about no minority participation.
That's right.
In all that construction going on downtown.
Right.
For the last month. And finally, thank you, sir, for commenting on it. I've even called the Danny Davis show. Oh, yeah, we'll see into it. But you know what gets me?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to be in the same place for the next 10 years if we don't do something about it. We've got to vote the people in for us. Not because they're black or Hispanic or
yes,
but because they're trying to help.
Yes, I love it, man. I love it. You're right. You're right. We got to vote the people in that's going to be for us. And then you're right on the big construction site. And then you'll call our elected officials, because I did the same thing. Talking to elected officials, they in outer space, man. They in la-la land. When it comes, see, you know why? And I call it, you know what's happening? See, they eating. They can't hurt like we hurt. Because when you're not getting a check, see, they getting a check. They getting a check every week or every 2 weeks. So they fine. They fine. They don't see nothing wrong. They don't see nothing wrong with this daily life. And they looking at us like, why you asking us about a job? We okay? No, we not okay. Because of all this. And now look, there's going to be a lot of more construction sites coming up. Just like outside of the movie studio here. We're in the medical district. The medical district got a lot of hospitals that's going to start springing up. Look at Cook County Hospital. That's going to come up. Mm-hmm. Then you got other facilities that's coming up. Northwestern. It's just going to be a ton of construction coming up in our community. And we need, and callers, I want my callers to be with me, because I promise you, as soon as I get a date confirmed, we got to have a press conference. We have to have a press conference where the powers that be at, to let them know, come on, guys, work with us. Work with us so we can get some of these kids this summer some jobs.
Let's all try to stand up. Let's make some noise.
Yeah.
We want your
voice.
Participation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your voice.
That's right.
If you have feedback, please give us a call. I mean, this is your avenue to shine. We really want the community now to speak its voice, because it's been long overdue.
That's right.
Melvin, I don't mean to just jump topic here, but this whole mental health issue is huge. It really is huge. You don't really understand how big this thing is, and I wish more people would understand, because it translates to everything. And I think if there's not anything in place now, what are we going to do 10, 15 years from now? What's the city of Chicago going to look like then? Think about that. Think about the land that's being developed and being pushed forward for development. Who's going to be a part of that? You have to be thinking the long term. Stop just focusing on one. Right. So when we say please get involved.
Right. You can't gentrify all of us out the community. We understand gentrification is live and it's here. But at the same token, you just can't gentrify all that's out the neighborhood, because we're going to be here and we want to play a part of this decision-making process. We understand it's a process that's going on with decision-making, and we want to be a part of that, because we want to have a voice in that. And we're going to call out the unions to let them know we understand they real powerful, they fund a lot of people campaign. That's why you don't get a lot of pushback from our elected officials, because the union is funding their campaign. We understand that. But this is, once we start getting registered to vote, and we're going to tell the aldermen when we identify which aldermen we're going to run out of the community, we understand they got, in their ward, you think you can just pick a ward, they got over 21,000 registered voters. 21,000, and they only win with 3,000 and 5,000 votes. No, 5 is too much. They win with 2,500 votes. 2,500 people put them in office with 21,000 registered voters. Man, we have a problem. We have a problem because we ain't stepping up and getting rid of them, man. So we need to have 4,000 people on our side so we can get rid of the aldermen. And somebody that's going to be down there representing us to tell the unions and the mayor, hold them up. Come on, man. Come on now. That's not right for our community. That's not right. Let's get these kids some jobs and some opportunity, because we can take them closed schools, them 50 closed schools, open one of them, and make it a community center. And we'll name it the Community Development and Awareness Center.
There you go.
That's what we'll name it. So, because we will educate the kids as they come in, the young adults, you know, we're not gonna discriminate who we're gonna educate and who we will help. We'll help everybody that come through the door.
So, you know, who do you think, in your opinion, is reaching out, or who reached out that really wants to help the city, in your opinion? We know people that, you know, may not be necessarily the pushing the product, but who, in your opinion, is really trying to help out?
Far as who? Elected official?
Oh yeah. Just in that arena. I mean, is it somebody coming from the White House? Is it someone coming from the state senator? Is it support that way?
Well, the support, we seem as if the support is coming from the White House. We get more support from the White House now at this present time. We got people.
Do we have a caller?
So it seems like as if now we're getting some head wave and some attention from the White House, Trump's economic team.
Okay.
And the thing about that, you know, right now it's in its infant stage. You know, we got some other brothers at the table that's really, you know, all of us together, they doing the right thing, but it's in its infant stage, but at least they are reaching out, and Trump is saying, hey, he wants to find out what's the root of the problem, how can he help? And we tell everybody all the time, we're not Republicans or Democrat, we broke. We don't care if you are Martian. If you coming down to help the hardest to serve community, people who struggle with social profiling, we with you. That's plain and simple. We with you. If you're going to come and help these kids, you know, and help us develop a community center where we can tackle that mental health and tackle all the issues, the ill issues that come along in our community, we with you. We with you.
I'm definitely with you too, because I'm tired of seeing my brother shoot his other brother's brains out. I'm tired of him selling drugs to him. I'm tired of him just putting him in a position where it's not the best light, and he knows better.
Right.
Okay, right. Just to make a quick dollar.
Right.
There's a whole lot of dollars to add up to 10 to 15 to 20 that you can do in a positive way.
Right.
So that's why I get on the show and I speak, and that's why Melvin talks to you here today so passionately. So that's why we say, when you have your opportunity, please use it, because there's nobody else that can stand up but you.
Right.
And we're going to try to help you do that, but we need your support, community. So please, do the right thing. We got a caller calling in.
Caller, go ahead. Please state your name and your concern.
This is the city, and I have lived in this city for a very long time. Those public schools that's being closed, they don't need to close. They need to make the home economics out of those.
Yes.
We need to get those schools open and get those trade schools back in motion. We got kids that's excellent, but they're not going to college. They need to build around their trades. These are some smart kids today.
Yes, and
thank you for all your kindness that you're speaking on.
Thank you for your call, and we're gonna have you to call back to get your name and information so you can help us come up with them curriculums to help these kids, because 50 schools, come on now. 50, come on, man. Y'all, you know, and for the mayor to come in to close them and not have a plan to reopen them, that's a problem. So, but we have a plan, just like the caller. You know, we can do arts and craft. We can start with a curriculum on making sure that they are prepared for the next level, because all of them is not going to college. All of them is not going to college, and college is not for everybody. But we need to give them a trade. We need to give them a trade so we can go ahead and make this thing happen. Well, again, thank you for my callers for calling in. We had a great show, and it's time for us to go. Thank you very much.